I bought my house 13 years ago, and the first month when I got my electric bill, it was $600. I immediately had solar installed on my house to reduce my bill, but I didn't get any batteries or anything with my setup, so I now have a grid-tied solar system on my roof, which originally allowed me to eliminate my power bill because I sell my solar production to the grid during the day and then pull from the grid at night, which should zero out my bill. But that created a few problems for me over the years. When the power goes out, I don't get to use my solar panels to generate electricity. They're just off, doing nothing. And my power company keeps trying to reduce the amount of power that I can sell back to them. So basically, they're trying to increase my bill all the time, which sucks because realistically, I have enough solar panels on my roof to power my whole house year round if I just had batteries. But every quote I got for batteries was always like $20,000 to $30,000. Like the Tesla Powerwall starts at $15,000. So I just never made that jump. Then one day, a couple years ago, after some fires, I lost power and all the ground beef in my freezer went bad. And that really sucked because my family had just bought half a cow from a local farmer and that was supposed to last us for the whole year. So after that, I got a transfer switch installed in my garage and I put a bunch of critical circuits on it, my garage freezer, all my kitchen appliances, and then also a couple rooms in my house. This allowed me to power my freezers with any number of different generators. All that considered, I decided I wanted to take some of the solar panels that were on my roof that I bought so long ago and route them into my garage so I could finally connect them to something that I controlled myself. And then just keep the transfer switch flipped basically full time. Because the battery technology is getting better, cheaper, and California seems like it's just going to have more and more power and stability issues in the future. My problem with all that though is there hasn't really been a power station that had all the input and output options that I needed to accomplish my goals with my current solar configuration on my roof and my output requirements. Until now, for some context, I have a couple sets of solar panels in series on my roof that produce 4,400 watts at around 350 volts on 2 strings. EcoFlow's Delta Pro Ultra is the first power station that can handle that level of high input voltage. It can actually handle up to 450 volts. The 4,400 watts of solar that I have on my roof will be slightly over paneling the EcoFlow Delta Pro Ultra in ideal conditions. But if my roof array ever does produce above 4,000 watts, like in ideal summer conditions, it actually wouldn't hurt the Delta Pro Ultra because that voltage is still below 450. It'll just only pull 4,000 watts. I also have 2 other solar panels in my backyard from Renogy that have just been kind of sitting in my backyard for a while so I could test other power stations, but I wanted my hot tub back, and so I decided to mount those on top of my garden pergola and get them out of the way, and I wired them a bit more nicely into my garage. So now I can still test power stations with those in my garage, and my backyard looks better. Sweet. Those 2 panels produce 1,100 watts at around 96 volts. I'm really excited about this because when I'm not testing some other power station, the Delta Pro Ultra can take both my high voltage solar input from my roof and my lower voltage solar input from my pergola at the same time, and it will produce over 5 kilowatts of solar that I can now directly use in my house. The Delta Pro Ultra can actually support up to 5.6 kilowatts of total solar input, 1,600 from the low voltage and 4,000 watts from the high voltage. So I also ordered a couple of these high voltage solar input switches from Reba Power that will handle up to 500 volts and 10 amps each, letting me finally tap the solar panels on my roof before they get to my inverter. So if my batteries are all full or if I need to do maintenance on my setup, I can easily reroute my solar panels back to feeding the grid through my inverter. And those will be installed by an electrician this week. And although the Anker F3800 Plus was just released a couple months ago, it offers nowhere near EcoFlow's solar input capability because Anker's solar input is limited to just 165 volts, with 2 inputs allowing 1,600 watts each or 3,200 watts total. And I've been charging the F3800 Plus with those panels mounted on my pergola, and they do a fine job at that. But my energy usage has outpaced their energy production, and I have to stay on top of what circuits are actively being powered on my transfer switch by that setup. So the EcoFlow Delta Pro Ultra is a clear winner for the configuration in my house. As for output, the EcoFlow Delta Pro Ultra also beats Anker's F3800 Plus in this category with 7.2 kilowatts as opposed to 6 kilowatts with Anker. When I tested the F3800 Plus running my oven, microwave, kettle, and studio all at the same time, it shut off almost immediately right after I broke 6 kilowatts of output. Here we got our notification. It's been deactivated. We just got to turn it back on. Which is fine, it's rated for 6 kilowatts. But let's run that same test with EcoFlow and see how hard we can push it. Okay, we're gonna try and overload the EcoFlow Delta Pro Ultra now. Let's do this. Transfer switch activated. Putting out 1,200 watts. I've also got the app for reference. All right. 3 kilowatts. And we're gonna turn on the oven. Let's do bake at 400 degrees. 6.6 kilowatts. I need more power. Let's turn the lights up. 8 kilowatts. Ooh. We're past our threshold. Anchor would have stopped by now. Let's keep going. Wow. .2 should shut off in any minute. Can you turn the microwave back on? It is on. Okay. The kettle, oven, they're all on? Everything's on. There we go. All right. Wow, and it just restarted right away. Okay. I didn't even have to manually reactivate it. It just restarted. Cool. And if you need even more output, both Anker and EcoFlow have options to connect more than one of their power stations together to double the power available to your house. In fact, this is EcoFlow's 50 amp hub, and it will allow you to connect 2 Delta Pro Ultras together. Anker has something very similar to this, but EcoFlow also has the ability to connect 3 Ultras together with their smart home panel too. And that will produce up to 21.6 kilowatts of output, which is a crazy amount of power for a portable power station. I did see some videos of people not being able to charge the EcoFlow Delta Pro Ultra with AC power while also producing 240 AC output, but that was with an old version of their firmware. With today's firmware, I'm able to charge it with AC power at the same time as powering other things without any issues. Welcome to the garage studio. So right now I've got the EcoFlow Delta Pro Ultra being charged with just the Pergola array of 1000 watts roughly. It's actually pulling in 824 watts right now. Not bad. We're using the 240 plug into my transfer switch. I'm just gonna charge it with AC and make sure that the 240 power keeps going. All right, here we go. Charging with solar and with AC power, and it's also outputting 240. I don't have the generator charging cable, but I did see another video of someone testing that online. You can also power it with 240 while also putting out 240. Both EcoFlow and Anker sell a 240 volt generator charging cable for their devices. EcoFlow's generator cable costs $70 and Anker's is $100, but they both accomplish the same thing, which is allowing you to charge it from a 240 volt source. Let's get down to the dollars. With today's pricing, it's quite a bit more expensive to just get up and running with EcoFlow at $4,800 versus $3,200 for Anker. And prices change kind of daily, so don't hold me to the dollar amount. But if the grid goes down for any uncertain amount of time, I'd be very glad I spent extra money for EcoFlow with their high voltage solar input alone, because remember, with my personal current solar configuration and hardware, I'd only be able to gather a maximum of about 1 kilowatt of solar from that setup on my pergola with Anker, and that's not a whole lot of power production, especially when you're depending on it and if you have a cloudy day or two. Now your situation might be different and you may or may not have solar, and if you do have solar, your configuration is almost certainly different than mine, and only you can really determine which unit is worth your money, and even then, what's important to you might be different than what's important to me. But I do believe everyone should have some sort of power failure plan to keep your food cold, cook your meals, and charge your phone. And both of these are fantastic options for that. Neither is really designed to be moved around a whole lot. They're both incredibly heavy. The Delta Pro Ultra clocks in at 180 pounds, but it's in 2 pieces. The inverter, the top piece, is 70 pounds, and the battery is 110 pounds. So because you can take them apart, it's slightly more manageable than the F3800 Plus, which is 137 pounds, but it's all in one awkwardly sized package. But I'm not going to take any points off of either of them for weight because batteries are heavy, and most people that buy these will stick them in their garage and they won't ever move them. Their form factors are also different. EcoFlow has a sleek column style setup with these like right angle style cables that you can't even really, They don't take up any extra floor space, but Anker's thinner base unit footprint might fit into certain cabinets and RV type setups more conveniently. So if floor space is at a premium for you, Anker might be the way to go. The F3800 Plus can also be laid out on its back or arranged differently to fit into cramped setups or on shelves, and EcoFlow's Delta Pro Ultra pretty much has this one configuration where it's in a column. I do like how EcoFlow has all their output plugs on the front of the unit under the display. EcoFlow also included a 12-volt 30-amp Anderson output with a maximum of 378 watts, and Anker just doesn't have that. They both have USB-C and USB-A ports for powering or charging small things right next to the power stations, and Anker has one more USB-C port than EcoFlow, but because this kind of tool will be sitting in my garage all the time, I personally don't put a lot of emphasis on points for these ports. That said, I do appreciate that they both included them, and I will use one once in a while out of convenience if I'm just messing around in my garage. So in conclusion, they're both pretty awesome tools, worthy of investment, and I don't think either of them would let you down. They both have a 5-year warranty and are rated to last 10 plus years, but for me personally, the EcoFlow Delta Pro Ultra fits my needs better. Thanks for watching. Peace.